In 2010, the world watched the rise of the BRIC nations, Brazil, Russia, India and China, poised to challenge the global order. But the club realized it needed a voice from Africa, a continent often overlooked in global power circles. So, South Africa was invited, transforming BRIC into BRICS and giving Africa a seat at the table. This was more than symbolism, it was a geopolitical statement. Africa was now a full partner in a major global bloc. South Africa, emerging from apartheid, was recognized for its strategic importance as the gateway to a continent of 1.4 billion people. The other members knew that to be truly global, they couldn't ignore Africa. South Africa became the bridge, the diplomatic handshake with the continent. Its status soared, representing not just 60 million South Africans but the hopes of an entire continent. As the sole African member, it championed development, trade, and security interests for all of Africa. South Africa's role was powerful, the gatekeeper for African interests in a club of giants. For over a decade, it was the continent's representative, a position it cultivated with pride. By the numbers, South Africa seemed outmatched in BRICS. China's economy dwarfs it, and even Brazil and Russia are much larger. With a GDP of about $400 billion, South Africa looked like a lightweight among heavyweights. But its value was never just economic, it brought legitimacy. With South Africa, BRICS could claim to represent the global South, not just Asia and Latin America. This gave the bloc moral and political weight to challenge Western institutions. South Africa is the most industrialized economy in sub-Saharan Africa and a mining powerhouse, supplying critical minerals to China and India. Its resources made it indispensable, ensuring its voice was always heard. As Africa's champion, it pushed for the BRICS Bank to fund projects across the continent. It advocated for cooperation in health, technology, and education for all of Africa. Pretoria skillfully balanced its smaller economy with outsized political influence. In global politics, power isn't just about GDP, it's about resources, location, and the story you represent. South Africa proved that influence comes from more than just economic size. It was the specialist in the room with something unique everyone wanted. For years, BRICS remained a 5-member club, but the world kept changing. At the 2023 Johannesburg Summit, hosted by South Africa, the bloc announced a major expansion. 6 countries were invited: Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. By early 2024, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the UAE joined as full members. Saudi Arabia was still considering, and Argentina backed out. The bloc became BRICS Plus, representing nearly half the world's population and over 30% of the global economy. The new members brought energy resources, geopolitical influence, and a shared desire for a multipolar world. BRICS Plus positioned itself as the champion for countries outside the Western sphere. A new partner country category emerged, with nations like Nigeria and Malaysia joining the network. The message was clear: BRICS Plus was now the foundation of an alternative global system. For South Africa, the once quiet club had become a crowded, dynamic arena. For over a decade, South Africa was the sole African voice in BRICS. But the 2024 expansion changed everything. Now Egypt and Ethiopia joined the table. Egypt, with a GDP larger than South Africa's and control of the Suez Canal, arrived as a regional giant. It sees itself as a leader of the Arab world and a bridge between Africa and the Middle East. Ethiopia, while smaller economically, is home to the African Union and a major diplomatic hub. With a population of over 120 million, it's a rising power in the Horn of Africa. Overnight, South Africa went from being the undisputed African representative to one of 3. The internal politics of BRICS Plus became more complex. Now, African interests are represented by 3 distinct voices. Would their priorities align, or would they compete? Africa was no longer a monolith, but a continent of diverse interests. Each African BRICS Plus member brings unique strengths, setting up a new dynamic. South Africa is the industrial and mineral powerhouse, with advanced infrastructure and a legendary mining sector. Egypt's strength is geography and trade. Its control of the Suez Canal gives it immense leverage. Its larger GDP and leadership in the Arab world add to its clout. Ethiopia's power is diplomatic and symbolic. It hosts the African Union and is the political heart of the continent. Its large, youthful population and role in regional security give it moral authority. Now, influence within BRICS Plus must be earned, not assumed. South Africa, Egypt, and Ethiopia each represent different regions and interests. Their strengths are complementary but also competing. The days of South Africa's automatic leadership are over. The new reality, African influence will be negotiated, not guaranteed. Is this new arrangement good for Africa? Multiple voices mean better representation. South Africa alone couldn't speak for 54 diverse countries. Now, Egypt, Ethiopia, and South Africa can coordinate for a stronger, more nuanced African presence. Together, they can push for targeted investments and development projects that reflect the continent's complexity. For example, the BRICS Partnership for the Elimination of Socially Determined Diseases can be led by 3 major African health systems, not just one. But there's a risk. If they compete instead of cooperate, Africa's influence could be diluted. Competing agendas might fragment their power, weakening their collective voice. The outcome depends on whether these 3 nations choose unity or rivalry. A coordinated bloc could amplify Africa's priorities within BRICS Plus, but division could leave Africa weaker than before. The future hinges on their ability to work together. As of late 2025, the future of African representation in BRICS Plus is uncertain. South Africa still holds powerful cards, industry, minerals, and deep diplomatic ties. But Egypt's economic might and Ethiopia's political centrality are formidable. South Africa risks being just one regional voice among several, a downgrade from its former status. The choices these 3 nations make will shape Africa's role in the new global order. Will they compete for influence, or unite for a stronger African front? A coordinated strategy could amplify their power on issues from trade to climate change. Division would let other BRICS Plus members play them off each other, weakening Africa's position. The era of a single African voice may be over, but will the new choir sing in harmony or discord?